Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Shaq here, and welcome back to Awakening the Rebellion. Fantastic mod for Empire War Forces of Corruption. We just recently finished our grand campaign in as the Rebel Alliance, fighting through and knocking out the Empire and the Black Sun and taking over the core worlds. Well, just after finishing that up, I got a message from the devs of this mod. They're like, hey, Mr. President says, hey, you could now stream and make a video about our test build that's on the way. And I think the whole point of this video is, one, show off some of the cool stuff that's coming in the next version, but also to warn you guys that when the next version comes out, it's going to break saves. So if we see this update come out in the next maybe week or 2 weeks, I don't have a timeline on that yet, I'd imagine it's pretty soon, start finishing up your campaigns, because the new version, you're not gonna be able to transfer that campaign to the new one, all right? There's a lot of cool stuff though with this version. It's actually, it's not nearly as major or as massive as the last one. If you haven't been paying attention to Awakening the Rebellion, they had a huge update, which was a complete rework of all of the ground combat and how it runs. And this is not the update everyone is really hyped for, the space combat update that's on the way. It's gonna kind of do the same thing they did with ground button space. That's not this. This is just a variety of changes and updates for easier to play and making it fun. So what we're getting some new infiltration units. We're getting new air units that you could build. You can now actually build X-Wings and TIE fighters. Let's load up into a game and I'll go through what's coming out. So the first thing we're gonna do, let's look at the Empire. Since we've been playing so much of the Rebels, we're gonna load up 2 saves that we've made. We are streaming this, by the way, over on Twitch right now. So if you see some pop-ups, that's what's going on. Let's go into test version 1, and we're gonna see some of the new Imperial units. So they've added, and you'll recognize this from Solo. I've already built a few of them. We have Cato de Moidia here. Let's turn on all the things and get all the info. Cato de Moidia, we have a small ground army prepped and ready to go. And they've added in a few new units. They have the ATDT company. These, you see them more in the special features for Solo, but they're in the background. It's basically an ATST Walker platform with a giant cannon mounted on the top. It looks very, it almost looks very Imperial Guard Warhammer / World War II artillery piece. It's really neat. It's also fairly low cost. Let's see, where do we build this? We built this over on BIS. No, we didn't. Where do we build this, guys? We built it on, where do we set it up? Oh, we did build it on BIS, and then we upgraded BIS's construction so we could get the heavier ships, I believe. But the relatively cheap artillery support for those really kind of crap units that you start with as the Empire, the Imperial Army troopers. So now you can have that kind of cheap backup for them, a little bit of extra range, and they have a special ability. So let's go ahead and use them. Also, before, you may have noticed this as I loaded it up the first time, the other new unit, the Occupier Tank from Rogue One, has been added to the game, and it has its own unique mechanic, which we're gonna get into. So the Occupier Tank is the tracked vehicle from Rogue One when they do the ambush on in the holy city of Jeddah. That's the tank that kind of rolls around the corner and gets a bit stomped on. So that's the other new one, and we can now build individual squadrons for ground battles. You can actually build TIE fighters, X-Wings, and if you do the upgrade and you buy the more expensive, you can actually pick up the Strike TIE from Rogue One as well. Pretty legit. All right, let's start a battle. Let's see, unpause. Well, we'll start it up with the Stormtroopers as like our landing party. As we gather. Auto-resolve, I'm just gonna let them have it. Ooh. Don't auto-resolve when you play. Just a heads up, don't do it. You're gonna regret it. Auto-resolve in Empire War is always questionable. You're gonna wanna fight those battles. Unless you've got a huge advantage, and even then, kind of questionable. All right, so our ground troops ready to drop on Manan, and we've got Solo on the ground. He's got a little bit of infantry support. He's got a little bit of light armor. We might actually see one of the new Rebel reworks. All of their armor has a new skin to it. It's got a new rework on weapon systems. There's a new balance there. So we're gonna see the T1A when we're on the ground, but let's do it. All right, so Stormtroopers, normal, average, everyday Stormtroopers, nicer model than what's in the base game. Oh, go ahead and capture, and we'll bring in our artillery. Check out this map, by the way. So this is Manan, which you guys will recognize from KOTOR. At first I was like, wait, what's going on here? We're actually at an angle.
We've secured a landing zone.
Kind of the beachhead. All right, first thing we'll do, let's bring in these artillery pieces. We get 2 per unit. And then we'll bring in the Occupier Tanks. We'll bring in a group of upgraded, let's bring in normal walkers. And then the infantry to go with them. If you haven't played the new version, or you've only been keeping an eye on Awakening the Rebellion from the videos that I've been doing, I've been playing, I think the last 15 episodes of Awakening the Rebellion on the last series has been a version behind before the ground rework, because I couldn't update it right away. So now we're there. We're at the new version, and it's quite cool. So here's our support group. We'll put them in the back. Notice that there's a flag there instead of the actual unit, and they'll deploy, and then we'll bring in the rest of our units. Each squad has a strength and a weakness, so you're gonna look at like the support, the suppression guys, which I don't actually have any here in this group, can slow down enemy units and debuff them. It's a bit more complicated now. Quite cool. All right, where's our new units? There they are. Walk around here. Check this out. So that is the AT-DT, and you can actually, if I zoom in behind, you can actually see a couple of the Army troopers. It's open back top. It is a support unit. Keep it in the back. Doesn't have a lot of life, but you get the extra range, and its special ability is this, stability fire. Stops movement of the vehicle completely to increase the fire rate for a short period of time. So once the battle starts, get them locked in place as long as they're facing the right direction. They've got a limited field of fire, and let them go ham. Occupier Tank, when I first saw this, I was like, wait, why is it super long? Well, no, this is actually 2 units. And what it does is, the old Rebel unit used to be able to do this. You can deploy it and build something. So if you want to build maybe the sensor node to get a little bit of extra range for your artillery units, you can do that. What else do we have here? This is the grenade launcher? Yeah, the concussion grenade launcher, and then the sensor scrambler. And I'm curious what this actually does other than jams missiles. Useful. It also has weapons. Where does it sit on armor? So this is a medium vehicle, so it's got medium vehicle armor, so you're gonna want something that can pierce medium armor. Tracked, can drive backwards and forwards, has a habit of driving backwards, I've noticed, has a speed of 10, max range 600, fog of 4, what's the health? 150. So this is 150. So we compare that to an AT-ST, 200. Same armor, 200. This is slightly slower. AT-STs, by the way, this version seem to be super powerful. Chat's been talking about them a bit, that because they have a rocket variant and a grenade variant, if you mix the two together, oh man, that model looks fantastic too. You will find that you got a good mix. You'll be able to deal with whatever threat kind of comes your way. Let's bring in the rocket variant so you can see the 2 different versions. Anti-infantry versus the anti-fighter. We'll also bring in, because we're almost at our max, let's bring in those ties. Now, that is not an officer that we're bringing in, like the old version. Oh, it's coming down on a Gazanti too, cool. That's not an officer we brought in, that's straight up just ties that you can build, which is pretty legit. You can build X-Wing squadrons straight up for ground combat now. We're gonna look at that later. So, all right, we've got our army looking pretty good. Let's grab the whole group. I got group 1 set for the ties. I'm gonna have them set off map for a bit, so go hang out over there. And then we'll call you in as needed once the battle has begun, or if we wanna use them for scouting. And let's get you guys turned around into a formation, and we'll run around this back corner. And we'll take it slow, because we're about 20% of the way from calling a bombing run. And there's been a change to bombing runs that we figured out when we were testing it earlier. We saw some Y-Wings that I called into a map, and the turrets on it and the main cannons actually fire at targets as they fly over now. So you might get a few free kills before the bombing run actually comes in. Pretty neat. I guess the TIE bombers, which we're gonna test here, gets the rocket system that'll randomly fire, and it looks like it's main cannons as well. So, but look at that. Also notice that it looks more consistent in between all the armor. So if you look at normal Empire at War or a lot of other mods, even this mod in older versions, some units are super bright and colorful, and some of them have really low textures, and some of them are like, they're different shades of gray, or almost like a light blue color. It looks really weird. It doesn't look like that anymore. Awakening of the Rebellion's kind of standardizing how their units look, and it's looking good. All right, so how's our TIEs doing? They are just chilling over the water. Look at the reflections, nice. There are some new ground combat effects as well. Let's keep moving a little bit farther. Now, for you guys that have complained, and I've seen the messages, that Awakening the Rebellion is more difficult than most mods, to the point where you've quit playing, in this version, when it comes out, normal has been made even easier. And I get that. Awaken the Rebellion, especially starting out in a campaign, in the main campaign setup, can be very difficult. You find yourself immediately under attack from almost every flank, like every side, especially as the Rebellion, where you're all spread out all over the place, or the Empire, where you don't feel like you've got a lot of resources. We're just gonna hang out over here for a second. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get a sensor node and see if we can get some range, because we know the enemy's over here somewhere. We know their base is there. And we don't have any scout units. So let's do this. And then we'll grab a sensor node. And then we're gonna send this guy up next to him, and we'll put a grenade launcher on him. And if they do hit us here, we can bring in a Sentinel shuttle or one of the transports to get a little extra fire here. Because even though they don't have that big of an army, they do have a base. What are you guys doing? What are you doing? Let's get the anti-armor on the left, and let's get the normal anti-infantry on the right. Spread it out. Spread it out, boys. Spread it out. Get you moving out. You will notice that, just like other tanks, it's an Empire War thing. Sometimes they just want to drive backwards. I don't think there's anything to identify which way is front on tanks. Let's go ahead and set you up, and let's get you a concussion grenade launcher. We might be able to start some shit here. We might be able to piss them off with the ties. And then we definitely want our... I want you all to move up, and I want you to back them up here, and I want you to back them up. Actually, stop right where you are. That's perfect, right there. Use that stop button if you ever need to get them to hold position where they are. And stop. Enemy is approaching. We've got sight on somebody. Look at the sensor array. Now remember, we can't build these for free anymore. We used to be able to build them for free. We used to be able to build these anywhere on any one of these pads. That's no longer a thing. Let's move out. One of the rebel units now, we are ooh, bombardment's right. Well, we might be able to piss them off with that. One of the rebel units now can actually deploy, it's the heavy suppression team, can actually deploy sandbags around that unit to give them an extra bit of health. And the sandbags themselves have 150 health on top of it. So you get this, like, it's so cool. We talked about it a few times on stream, the ability to kind of almost do the company heroes thing, build your own defenses and line up behind them if you're gonna have like a trench fight. So we're gonna stand here and we're gonna grab this. Let's grab that and that, and I might leave you guys there. Okay, we got incoming. Let's see that artillery get to work. Give him a shot. Boom, there it is.
How about rigs down?
What rig is down?
Yes, Commander.
Light him up. Use it. Torpedoes away. Okay, maybe not. Those are what, rockets? Anti-vehicle rockets. Probably not the best to be used there. Got a few casualties over here. Find the medic.
Ready.
Let's go.
Fire. Ready for command.
They haven't hit us yet. We know that there's gonna be a big group over here. We're just out of sensor range of it. What is that? Oh, is that Chewbacca?
Complete.
Can you guys give me a little fire support right here? I wanna see what your range is. We're still figuring that out. Incoming. All right, pop their stability fire. They won't be able to move and get them firing. So cheap, move you up. So cheap artillery for the early Imperial campaign, ready to go. Boom, boom, there it is. The grenade's going off. That's a hero, so he's gonna take a ton of damage. Heroes have gotten a hell of a buff in this version. Let's bring you guys up and around and see if we can kind of bait them out.
Awaiting orders.
Or we could press on. We could press on. We have an artillery strike, or a orbital strike. We also have a bombing run. So let's go ahead and press on.
Attack tank copy.
Whoa, what is that fire from? I have no idea what that was from, but the army is moving up. We're gonna want to hold position soon. Let's hold here. Let's get you back. Oh, that's the grenade launcher firing from back here. So get out of there, Walker. Now we do have, I think, a few Imperial Army mechanics. He would be able to repair that. Oh, here they come, here they come. All right, or strike now. Strike now. You guys can't use it yet. There's the strike. Rounds down. Didn't kill that many. Wait. There's the second blast. We'll hold here. Okay, come on back here and get some repairs. See if you can find the mechanics. Nice. Looks like we're holding. Let's go ahead and get you guys to take cover. Something is ion cannoning him on this side. Let's bring you back. Both artillery units. There's some new ground effects, by the way. If this doesn't look like your game, it's probably because they've changed a few things. Grenade has been, let's see, grenade rework is in the chat, in the notes. Not quite sure exactly what they changed with grenades, but that's been reworked. A lot of AI changes, I quote from the dev. There's a super heavy, new armor type super heavy tank. I think that's a mechanical change to go along with the new look for some of the tanks. Do we not have a mechanic?
Yes, sir.
I might not have brought enough support units. There's one. Here we go. That's the Star Wars equivalent of the kind of like the Red Cross symbol, or the medical symbol. There he is. All right, mechanics, start putting the legs back on. Yeah, he's fixing it. Nice. So you can get a little bit more of like a siege mentality with the Empire early on, and match that kind of combat from Solo. At least that's how I see it. Let's get another. These are grenade launchers. I'd rather just take the walkers in with the rockets. But they're all really badly damaged.
Ready.
You support team, come over here and help them. Let's get those fires put out. Because you could set up like this, siege a bit, knock the numbers down. Because remember in Awakening the Rebellion, they have a limited number of respawns. No, I'm not gonna call it in yet. I'm saving that bombing round.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're moving out. Let's press on.
Quiet.
I gave them the attack move order. Oh man, the camera is not agreeing with me right now. Thunk.
They're losing numbers quickly.
Comlink active.
Can't see it still.
Ready to go.
Let's get a scout walker out there. Go for it. Oh, he's so screwed. They probably have another. Ooh, kill the AA.
Always
More
ready.
rockets on the AA, please. No, it's dead already. Do they not? Do we empty out the base? We might have, actually. They only get one of each because this is a low-level base. All right, calling in the bombing run. All right, there goes our TIE bombers, and they should have not only the bombs but the rockets and the lasers, if there's something to fire at, which there may not be.
We've sighted
Freaking cool. New ground projectiles. That's what's been changed. So let's say if they fire any rockets. Yeah, you can hear the weapons fire off. There's the rockets, and then there's the actual bombs. And the bombs actually look like the ones that were dropped in, I want to say it was A New Hope. But we also see it a lot in Rogue Squadron. Very cool. So, freaking epic ground units. Now, there are a few other units. The Hapes have gotten, I think the Hapes get something called the Royal Dragon. I don't actually know what that is. They've got a couple of other units too, like the Archon tank is in here. It looks like they use a lot of models from the Rebel Alliance. We fought a little bit of that earlier today during the stream. But let's load up our other save. Let's load up the Test Reb version 1. And we're gonna look at the light armor for the Rebel Alliance. The T-Series has gotten a complete visual overhaul, and it looks really freaking cool. So here we go. We'll also have a chance to play around with the U-Wing if you haven't played the recent version. The U-Wing is in there, and its ion cannon is stunningly cool because you can choose one vehicle and be like, you know what, you're not gonna work anymore. I'm just gonna have you shut down for a bit while the rest of the army knocks you out. So we'll start Invasion of Jabim. So let's take a look at what the army actually is. So the new units, or the new rework for Rebel armor, T1B is in here. So the T1 series, now with proper blaster cannon. Oh, we'll get it, I'll bring them in and then we'll read it. But you've got now a dedicated AA unit, which we're gonna look at in the next version load. We've got, all right, secure the base. Let's go grab these points. Got a few local militia groups that are fighting. Maybe we can take this bunker and hold it and then send them some backup while the rest of the infantry kind of run off into the swamp. All right, you guys hold. Oh, take the point. All right, so we're gonna bring in the T1B Heavy Tank Company. You get 3 of them. What these are, T1B is first model that's been able to provide with the Alliance essentially a tank chassis past. It's literally just a hover truck. They gave it a deflector shield, and then they hit a grenade launcher and a blaster cannon on it. That's what this is. This is your technical. It has a super beefy sounding, and you can hear it here, laser cannon on the top, and then an anti-infantry weapon in the back. Does it have an ability? Yeah, I mean, it's got switch over to the grenade launcher, and then it has the boost power to shield, which it does have its shield, and it will recharge. Let's move you guys up a little bit more so you can keep covering them.
Is under attack.
Looks like they're holding, getting the bunker militia. There you are. We've got a few more. I'm gonna run them in, and then we'll bring in something a little bit heavier. Let's bring in the T3H company. So we only get 2 for this one. This one actually has, it kind of looks like a World War II tank destroyer. It's got a big ass cannon on the top. Is that like an armored Humvee? Yeah, pretty much. Chad asking about it. This thing is kind of like an armored Humvee, whereas these, you know, this thing can actually crack some medium armor, I think. Like, look at that cannon on it. And the heavier version of this actually has the track, the same gun, and a missile, and a micro torpedo launcher on the side to really crack the crap out of the enemy heavy armor. So if you're dealing with a lot of walkers, you're gonna want the bigger version of this, but also really good range. Which one are we missing? So we brought in the T1B light. We didn't bring in the, which one did we bring? We bring in the T1, this is the T1A. We want the T1B now. Let's bring the T1B. 3 of those. That's the one with the rocket launcher on the side instead of the grenade launcher for anti-infantry work. Look at him. Look at him pop this vehicle from halfway across the map, it feels like. Come on back here. So, gonna be able to deal with light vehicles, it looks like. It also has what I believe is a rocket launcher. I could be wrong. What's your secondary weapon? Proper blaster turrets and a flak pod. That's actually this is your light anti-aircraft. This is what you're gonna use to take out your. Okay, let's move you guys over here. We need actual anti-vehicle work. Get on over here. Then of course we have the medical truck APC. This has been in for what, the last like 4 versions. It actually heals the units around it, and it has that cannon on the top.
Ready for battle, sir.
Oh man, I'm loving where they're going with the ground vehicles for the Rebel Alliance. And the paint job, look at that on the background back there. Oh, I love it. Wait till you see the heavy tank. All right, let's move up. Stream was telling me that this planet particularly slows down ground vehicles. It has a debuff, so they're not normally this slow. The new fire effects and the new sounds. Well, we can't have this battle without the U-Wing. Let's do it. U-Wing is on the way. Oh, we should grab some infantry too. Load up. Get in the APC.
Ready to roll.
Might as well. Couple of lats dropping off troops.
Hover tank ready.
Now, the U-Wing. This was talked about a bit. You do get an escort, Z95. Z95 has had an update, has a rocket launcher. It is not super effective, but hey, it's worth it. Why not? Before it didn't have any kind of missile or rocket, now it does. The U-Wing itself. So, in this version, it can use the ion cannon, basically the door gunner that you see in Rogue One. It has it. As it moves up here, you can actually see it firing there, just laying out rounds, which disables vehicles when it hits it. Like, look at it go. Let's see if we can actually hit a vehicle, and you'll see it has the effect. We may have killed all the. Oh no! The other variant that it has, if I turn it on, is where it opens its wings, goes a lot faster, and starts regenerating its shields. Huh, that was almost real bad. Somebody hit it with a tracking missile. I don't think it heals hull damage though. So its weapon doesn't work in this mode, basically. But it's a lot faster to get it out of harm's way. And it'll let you recharge your shield. But you don't want to do that in combat. Let's bring in the Z95 a bit. Let's bring in the infantry. And then we'll load up the other save with the really big vehicles. It's so Rebel with that paint job, yeah. No, they nailed it with the paint jobs on this.
Guarding the rear.
The
Base
dun, dun, dun,
is under
dun.
attack.
You can see the new paint jobs on there.
We've
Looking very
secured
cool.
a build
I don't know
pad.
what this logo is. Let's see.
We've lost a build pad.
A little squished where it's at.
We've secured
Armored group,
a build
just
pad.
whoop. Come on, you gotta crack it. You gotta crack that bunker, or whoever's throwing rockets at it. This needs to go away. I have them on attack move right now, so they're gonna engage anything that they run into. Notice we can't build repair centers anymore, so you're gonna want to bring your own support infantry to be able to repair those units.
We've lost a build pad.
And then we got the new build pads. They're actually the build pads from the skirmish mode. Build some fun things on there if we can get over to it. All right, make our way up.
Waiting orders.
Give me the bunker turret.
Copy.
Oh, there's some artillery. Who was that? Private Rocketeers. You guys, you open up on him. You gotta kill him quick. He broke our new.
All lights are green.
Take him down, take him down. There we go.
We've
Oh
secured
man, this is so much better.
pad.
Moving ahead. Prepare to assist.
Did we lose this? Yeah, it's on recharge now. All right, find the target. We'll do a bombing run on it.
Cannons charged.
Some of the tanks are just a little on fire. I think my favorite so far is the tracked version of the medium tank. Where are they? There it is right here. The tracked version of this. Like, I like this. This is cool. The tracked one with the micro torpedoes. Pretty legit. Because the way it works in Star Wars is that you've got, when it comes to like missiles or rockets, your qualifiers are rocket is going to be your dumbfire. Then you've got your something like a concussion missile, right, which is going to be your anti-fighter, right, weapon system, which can be shoulder mounted, or you can stick it on the bottom of like an A-wing or whatnot. And then you've got your varying torpedoes, and that's going to be your armor piercing stuff, your heavier stuff. That's how Star Wars breaks up its weapon
System
systems.
control achieved.
All right, cool. There we go. So, Jabim is ours. Let's go ahead and reload. And we will check out the heavy variant of the Rebel Alliance. Proctor, thank you for that tier 1 sub. Appreciate it. So in this version, I have built up the Hoth construction facilities. I've gotten it up to the heavy factory, and now we can build things like the T1C, which is going to be your anti-air dedicated vehicle, though it can be used on ground targets. So if you want to spray an area for anti-infantry work. You also get the tracked T3B, the heavy tank. Now this was something that was in the base game, but this is their view on it. It's quite cool, actually. And we can pick up now, without having to need an officer, the X-Wing squadrons. Legit, right? And you know, we also get the transport, the HTT. HTT, if you're looking for air transportation. Sadly, you don't get to keep the lats that drop troops off on the ground. The army that we've managed to push through on Bespin, take the orbit, and we're going to drop ground troops on here, which is going to be all of those heavy vehicles that we just talked about. So let's do it. Let's get a fight going. We'll bring in. Oh no, we're missing one unit. We gotta check out the one unit, which they're on their way right now. They're not. You're almost done. Almost done. Let's fast forward this a bit. I want to get one of those heavy support teams over here because those have the ability to build the sand bunkers, sandbags, which is quite a cool, unique ability. Oh wait, never checked out the lieutenant. There's a lot that I have not checked out yet. In this, there's lots of changes. Like the patch notes are quite long. They're a bit vague that were sent over to me. I know there's a lot that's missing. This is just kind of some of the highlights. And to get the word out that, hey, there's a new version coming out, and you're probably going to want to finish your campaign. So we got 2 heavy support squads. These are going to be your anti-infantry squads. Let's get them over there. And they're on their way. Word just came out that there is a new Star Wars game that's being produced. Star Wars Squadrons, I think is what it's called. We haven't had the live stream yet, depending on when you're watching this video over on YouTube. So we have no idea at the moment, if you're watching this in the future, of what that game is going to be like. But there's just nothing but people are talking about it in chat constantly, like, what is it going to be? What is this game gonna? Is it gonna be a Rogue Squadron style? Is it gonna be a sim dogfighter? Is it gonna be some weird expansion for Battlefront 2? Yes, there they are. Cool. All right, so these are our heavy weapons teams. I will read what they do while we capture this point, so we can actually land troops.
Choose your reinforcements.
So what they do, Spec Force Gunner teams. They have cover, and then they have the sandbag ability. Here's the sandbag ability. They've now locked it down. We'll read what it does. So, Gunners are heavy weapon specialists well equipped to eliminate enemy infantry. They are conditioned to maintain their post at all costs, with experts in the use of repeating blasters and heavy blaster rifles. These are suppression guys. This makes them extremely good at their job, but they will struggle to cope with enemy vehicles. Deploy a small sandbag, this is deploy barricade, and can block incoming fire and provide cover. The barricade itself, if you put your mouse over it, has 150 health versus the actual infantry unit, which has somewhere around 30. Yeah, pretty freaking cool. EA gets a bad rap and they don't deserve it. Yes, they do. They more than deserve their bad rap. Absolutely. People in chat talking about it. Look at the history of EA. Just because they've given you a lot of updates for your favorite game or one of your favorite Star Wars games does not mean they do not have not earned their
Reporting in.
let's go ahead and dig in a little bit.
Ready to roll.
What their rap sheet. All right, so our first, we've seen these before. One of our light tees, but let's bring in the heavy. See what this looks like. Also, there's the X-Wings that you can build now. They do have, by the way, we'll go ahead and take off here. You can lock S-foils to get the extra speed boost, and it lowers the amount of damage they do. They can still fire, which I know a lot of you are like, oh, that's weird. I think it's just a quirk of the game. I don't know if they can keep it from firing with their S-foils closed.
Heading out.
So it just does less damage. They're all dug in now. So that same thing, if you want to have like a siege mentality, you can dig in now. And I'm curious how well that'll work out. Taking on artillery, whatnot. All right, what else do we have? What else do we have? Well, we could bring in support. We could bring in some rocket infantry. I think rocket infantry is really not worthwhile because with the new Bespin map, by the way, gorgeous new Bespin map. If I zoom out here, you can actually see, okay, maybe not zoom out that far. Apparently there's no bottom to it. But this is the new Bespin map, and what it's a little infantry focused because you can't bring vehicles through the middle anymore, right? I mean, this is a complete rework. This looks nothing like the old map. Let's bring in some more troops. We can walk infantry through the center if we really wanted to. What a great map to choose for a vehicle spotlight.
Course plotted.
Wonderful. Iblis. I'm not bringing your vehicle in. Yours is just bizarre. Looks like we've got a little bit of, oh, okay, let's not do that. And they pierced it too. So one of the notes on the Imperial, let's open your guys' S-foils up for combat mode. One of the notes on the Imperial landing pad that gives you TIE fighters for defense is that we'll actually repair air units. I don't know if that's new or not. It's been a while since I played as the Empire through a total campaign, but still pretty cool. Pretty cool. So we got our medics. Would you guys, you don't repair air, do you? Because you're also my mechanics, I believe. Support teams, right? Yep. See, they can paralyze enemy troops. They are best support other infantry teams or vehicles and can give medical treatment. So if you're gonna do a really heavy armored group, you're gonna wanna make sure they've got lots of support teams. This is gonna be your mechanics, your field mechanics. Keeping your tanks in the fight. All right, let's go and kick the crap out of something, shall we? You still have stuff like rogue squadrons in here. Let's bring in loot.
On my way.
I'm actually curious what loot gets. Another heavy team. Now, we've used our sandbag ability. Oh, we get it again? You can keep doing it? Does that mean that other infantry teams could potentially use it? Let's fall back. Right? Like, if, say I do this, like, okay, here's the front line, deploy the sandbags, and then stick the medical teams, the support teams in there, while the suppression teams move on to do something else. It doesn't look like they go away. I wonder if that'll be... Where's Luke? Is Luke dead?
Move out.
Streams for like 10 seconds. Just carrying infinite amount of sandbags, apparently. So in the Star Wars universe, there is a thing called, oh God, it's like a concrete in a jar, basically. And you can, those X-Wings are just doing whatever the hell they want right now, flying around out there. It's concrete in a jar that you can spray. It's foam concrete. And when it hardens, it comes as hard as concrete. So you can have that kind of like, so I'm not saying that's what those bags are made out of, but no, that's a legit thing. Weird as that sounds. Permacrete. And there's another name for the actual spray stuff though, and permacrete's what the word they use for concrete. Yeah, it's true. But anyways, I love weird like that. Let's go break something. We know they've got a bunker over here. We'll roll over that way. Take a look at the heavy armor though. Freaking cool. Oh, I love the skull in the background. I wonder if this has different paint jobs depending on where it's at. Because last time we looked at one of these, I swear it had the word Fury written on the side, and now it doesn't, and now it's got a skull on the back. Or maybe there's a... Yeah, you got the skull. I love it. The tanks rolling backwards. It's an Empire or weird thing. You gotta get them to turn around. There they go. Only problem is some weapons don't rotate that far, and you need them facing a certain direction. There we go. So make sure they're facing the right direction before you tell them to move. As he turns around and he does it again. Oh, man. Driving backwards because Empire War and Tank. All right, we're gonna have to send the infantry into the center. Well, we'll call in 2 more groups. Let's bring in some bunker busters. And a support team. A medic team and a rocket team.
Capacity.
Looks like they're coming around this way. Seems like a poor life choice because our heavies are over here. That fantastic sound effect of their weapons firing. And weapon rates with the ground update got reworked, so it makes them seem a little bit more oomphy. Move you a little bit closer. I know I can't get you in there. Squads, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get the suppression teams in there. Maybe set up some sandbags. I wouldn't even be against the idea of like sandbags costing a little bit of credits or having a number of uses. I mean, it's only 150 health. That doesn't seem like a ton. How much health is a... Well, okay, a heavy tank has 500 health, but it also has heavy armor, meaning that it doesn't take as much damage from the individual shots, depending on the kind of weapon being used against it. As I understand it, so like small arms shooting at this thing, we're talking your normal like carbine or pistol or rifle, won't really do that much damage to it. But if you come up with a rocket launcher, right, it's good against medium armor, it'll do some more damage to it, but still not a whole lot. There's the heavy guns all set up. You can see the heavy repeaters open up on this poor infantry, and all the debuffs they're taking now, and all the grenades going off from these teams throwing them. Still not the best 2 vehicles to be doing this, but there you go. All right, well, this has been a bit of a rant and a ramble, but I hope you guys are excited for the new version. I know I am. Hopefully we see it. There's a little bit of talk in my chat from some of the developers talking about like maybe a week or 2 weeks. No guarantees there when this is gonna come out, but it's on the way. So wrap up your campaigns now as this new version is coming. Reworked air units, reworked ground tank units, some new vehicles on the Empire and the Rebellion side. And I even think the Black Sun are getting a few. I haven't tried them out yet because I'm biased when it comes to the factions that I cover most of the time. The grenades have been reworked, a ton of AI changes, a bunch of bug fixes are coming out. There's adjustments to the Galactic Civil War's random campaigns that are gonna be in there. Normal, like I said, has been made easier for you guys who are having trouble with it and you wanna get used to how the game plays. Highly, that's great. That means more people can jump in and enjoy it. I know a lot of people have quit Awakening the Rebellion because of how difficult it is starting out. So, some new ground textures have been added, overall balance improvements are on the patch notes, new ground projectiles as you saw, and then the T-Series tanks, which are gorgeous. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out today. I will see you all in the next video, or come on and join me over here on Twitch. We stream almost every day, except for Monday, Tuesdays, and then Wednesdays. Those days kind of get wistfully watched. But everything other day, normally we're streaming. So come on over, hang out with us. See y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.